Hello, dear viewer. Have you been mad ever since Winds of Change came out and Mughals have been nerfed so they can no longer use the Varanasi monument right here? As you can see, is not Mughals, which means you can no longer flip Hindu and get an easy 80 core creation core set up for easy conquests. Well, I may have a few solutions, and I hope at least one of them pleases you. First off, this is not a real game, this is just a cheated game for demonstration. And for every measurement of core creation cost, we'll be starting at the 65 core creation cost benchmark. 10 from Divan, 5 from Ikta, 25 from Mughal traditions, and 25 from admin ideas. Unless we find a bigger source and more convenient source of core creation cost than Ikta, then we will have to keep it in as a permanent source. And that's the second thing, I will be only looking at permanent sources rather than temporary. So while you may just be able to do the Timurid Empire mission for 10 core creation cost during Age of Discovery, you will not be able to keep that for long if you are a normal player who doesn't conquer the world by 1500. Let's just say that. So the first method is to get both the court ideas policy and the tier 10 government reform for monarchies. The tier 10 government reform is right here, regional representation. The tier 10 government reform, which gives you 5 core creation cost. Now, it is more viable to get it than as in a normal playthrough, because as Mughals, if you form them while you have a tier 3 government reform unlocked already, you will immediately jump to a tier 7 government reform, which means you will skip 4 entire tiers. Now, that still isn't great. You will need about 1000 or so government reform progress just to get to tier 10 from tier 7. But if you're not willing to do much and you're lazy, then I guess this is a solution for you. You do this, and then you fill out both admin ideas and code ideas. And as you can see, a policy will jump out at me. But here, Big Government Act for 5 core creation cost. And now if I check my stats, 75% core creation cost. Like that. And you only have to refresh Ikta sometimes. So, you know, that's the laziest way to do it in my opinion, and also pretty slow because you have to wait for the tier 10, and taking quarterly is not ideal to say the least. It's at the best at 4th idea slot, maybe 5th, but that's it. Now for the second method, let's say you are still attached to Hindu Mughals as an idea, and you're willing to do some religious flipping shenanigans to get that 75 core creation cost for the entire game. You have to keep Ikta around, which means you will have to frequently flip back between Hindu and Sunni, Shia, Ibadi, whatever, to get that Ikta ability back. We'll share a few religion flipping tricks to, you know, give you some material to work with. Of course, the first and most well-known one probably is rebels. If you have a plurality of a religion, let's just check here. If you have development plurality, which means it has the most development out of any religion in the country, it doesn't need to have 50%, it just needs the most out of any. So right now, the other biggest religion I have is Sunni, with 41%. It would need 41.1% to get plurality, basically, but I have 48.2, which means if I spawn rebels right now and accept them, I would become Hindu. So that's one way. Another way is through question of a faith event, but I'm not gonna get into that one. And the last one is through the convert to Sikhism event. When you convert to Sikhism, you of course just lose a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of your reforms, but what you can do now is go into the religious screen and you see convert, and now you can pick between any of these. Of course you'll pick Hindu, and you'll become Hindu. Now you just select your Shiva, and this is how you get 75 core creation cost for 20 years before the Ikta expires. Also, do you flip back to Sunny to, you know, get your Ikta ability back, which basically keep feeding the Hindu monster. You probably will have to either convert Delhi directly to Sunny or place your capital in a Sunny province. So let me just do it in here in Nerf. So of course, when you move your capital to a Sunny province, you will get access to this decision right here: adopt Islam as the state religion. You can now, of course, you will need Sunny plurality for this, which means balancing your development mostly on the Sunny side, because there are ways to flip to Hindu without plurality, but there is no real convenient way back other than, again, converting through Seek, but that will take 2 button clicks, and there is a 10-year cooldown on converting religion through the convert screen. As you can see here, 1454, 10-year cooldown. So you're really limited on those, and it's just not pleasant. But once you do flip Sunny, take that tier 1 and refresh it and continue this carousel, and this way you will have 75 core creation to cost technically permanently. If you flip every 20 years, of course. Now for the next method, let's say you don't want to flip every 20 years and instead want to only refresh Shiva buffs. This means you will get to stay in the Islamic religious group for longer, which means more use of, for example, Kaaba, more use of your tolerances, and that sort of nice stuff. First, flip to Hindu through any of the methods I mentioned before. Select your deity, then go to the Brahmins and make them have more than 40 influence. So you can get the choice of personal deity privilege. Now another decision will pop up. Right here, choose personal deity again. Now, before you click this, make sure you're prepared to flip back to Sunny before this event can expire. When you are ready, click it and hold it. Do not click anything until you flip to your preferred religion. You can do this with any religion. And then, only then, click this. And if I wait a month taking this situation, you will see yet again that I have 75 core creation cost because the Shiva carried over from me holding the event. And this lasts until ruler death, which means don't do this with an old ruler, you have to do it with a quite young one, and then you can worry only about 40, 50, 60, even maybe 70 years later down the line about doing this flip again, which is way more sustainable in my opinion than the flip staying mostly Hindu and sometimes flipping to Sunny for the Ikta. Let's say you just want to stay Sunny the entire time, you don't want to bother with religion flipping, which I fully understand. You will have to do one religious flip for this one, and then you will be free. So for this one, you will need Turkish provinces, or a Turkish province. So that means integrating Turkish land. And the big problem with this method is that you have to flip out of Divan, because Divan doesn't let you change your primary culture. So how do you do it? When you convert to Sikhism, you will see Reform Mughal Divan no longer being viable and now has been abolished. Which means you can now freely accept and promote whatever culture you want at any time. But you won't get the assimilation bonuses, of course. So now, accept and flip to Turkish. When you do flip to Turkish, you probably know and of course flip back to Sunny after this. Through any of the before mentioned methods, you probably will have the development to go back with the decision. And once you do, you will see that one special government reform available to you, Beylik. Select it, and now you again will have 75% core creation cost. Oh, of course, after you take Divan as well. So yeah, this is an easy way to keep that 75 core creation cost. It just, every 20 years you will have to spend 100 government reform to flip to Ikta, get that 5 core creation cost back, and then flip back. Depends on your game, but this is probably my favorite method. Now, a miscellaneous one I want to mention is either starting as someone or becoming someone who can get 10 core creation cost in some other way that's not a government reform. It doesn't get it from traditions or ideas. It just gets it from the mission tree. For example, if I tag Trebizond over here, you'll see that they have 5 core creation cost here and another 5 here added to just their base nation, which will carry over anywhere you go. So if you form Mughals with them after completing those 2 missions, you will have permanent 75% core creation cost with the Ikta ability. And now to the last method, which is way more unorthodox than the others, but can be useful, I guess, is either taking a pro of China, which you can probably do very early on as starting as any of the Timurid vassals rather than the Timurids themselves, because the Timurids are already quite big. One way you can do this when you're early on as, for example, Transoxiana or Afghanistan is conquer a whole bunch of Tibet. Like everything you see here will have to be conquered for you to get Buddhist plurality, and with that Buddhist plurality, flip to Buddhism, and with that use the take a mandate of Heaven CB on China. Or another method is going with elective monarchy. If I kill my ruler, you will have an option to take a guy from the most developed nation next to you, I think it is. I do not know the exact mechanics, but if you do get this, but if you do more border Meng, of course, you need to border Meng for this. It is actually quite easy to get a ruler like this because they are oftentimes the most developed nation by far around you, or even anywhere in the world early on. So of course you should choose him. And then because he's confusion, you can do question of faith. I'm just making you aware that it's a method you can use. The other is, of course, with the Buddhist, then take Empire of China, which means you will have 20 core creation cost plus 10 plus 25 plus 25, easily matching the pre-nerf Hindu. Of course, it's more effort, but at the same time, if you really want that core creation cost, you will need to get it somewhere. I think that is it for the methods I kind of want to show or talk about, but there is one more I would like to mention, and that is this really stupid one. You have to basically conquer the Aztecs, move your capital to the New World so you can set Aztec culture directly and culture fifth to Aztec. And with Aztec family culture, there is a tier 1, which is not reliant on you getting Nahuatl, which enables their Tonanelli ability, which can give you up to 15 core creation cost. Which means that you don't even have to flip back to Ikta for that one. It's quite out of the way, but I guess if you want to meme around, you can meme around. It only requires primary Aztec culture. But that is it. I hope you took something from this video. If you didn't and you hate me, then I guess dislike, and this will probably be the only U4 video I will ever do. Bye.